Peter Ameh, the National Secretary of the CUPP, joins us now to speak on this issue. Very warm welcome to News Night. And the foregoing was that the organization, the CUPP, political parties, have gathered evidence that a subsidiary move is being made to procure an order of court by the 27 legislators in Rivers State House of Assembly. Purported to have been suspended, and they are still claiming their members. The brick bat is still going on. How did you, sieve or sift this evidence?
The issue is that it's no longer, you can find it in public domain, and the quarter from which this evidence was gotten was clearly stated in our listing. That from a WhatsApp group of pro-wiki, how they call it, former House of Assembly members who felt they were all together and shared this credible evidence among themselves. If there's nobody who is going to deny that there's no suit or FCH ABJ CS 16618 on 18/2023 in the court, and what we're saying is, for this democracy, this multi-party democratic system that we are practicing, and the combination of the freedom and will of the people to, take whatever decision in their hand, and to follow constitutional process in the right order. What we're saying is that if there's already a competent court of jurisdiction that have, made an order stating that Edison here is the Speaker of the Rivers State House of Assembly, if that one is already existing, and is on the table and public domain that everybody can see. This is not something they are looking for how to procure or hide. It's in public domain. In our lawyer system, it is either you approach a higher court to say, oh, this order was made for social reason and seeking for the vacation of such order. You don't go to another court that has the same competent, how they call it, the same jurisdiction, coordinate jurisdiction, to try to vacate another made by the other court. That is, in fact, that amount to abuse of court processes. So what we are saying is that for not us to set this Fourth Republic, ablaze and try because of the whims and caprices of people are not flying, or because people think that their interest is not being, to subdue a process of the people is not being, taken care of. And don't forget, after that, when they convey, the majority of the House, whether 1/3 or 2/3 that you are looking for, is as the State House of Assembly is constituted. So when our law, Section 109, Section 1G, states very clearly what the procedures are. So when they conveyed, they discovered, and that Edison here is not the Speaker, the seat of those who decant, they are still wearing APC t-shirt. You can see them on TV. The same thing they did when they took when the BBC did a report of how elections in Rivers State was stolen for the presidential candidate. So what we are saying in the recess is that since it has been vacated, somebody has been named as a speaker, and that seat, an authentic letter has been written by that speaker that had been given authority by the court to the Independent National Electoral Commission, vacating that seat. The only thing left today is INEC to set a date, put in motion to conducting elections. Because if you look at even what senior advocates are saying, including people like Femi Falana, say that those lawmakers who decamp do not have sound judgment, sound briefing of what the law says. Because if they had sound information before them, they would have stayed in their party to try to fight that. Let them declare those seats back as this seat has been declared back. Let them conduct election. Let other parties and every other party come to contest that election so that we can now repopulate the adequate number that is required to be in the State House of Assembly.
Peter, do you think INEC is foot dragging here if you say there is a valid court order, saying these other 5 members are just the members in the Rivers State House of Assembly today? Or shouldn't, the matter really be adjudicated on in the law court so that the court decides it?
Which law court? Nobody is appealing this order today. There's no appeal against this order. There's no appeal. If there's no appeal and there's a letter to you, INEC doesn't work by their discretion when it comes to the issue of the law. INEC shouldn't be deciding what decision to take because they are a commission that they are supposed to organize, undertake, and conduct elections for the Federal Republic of Nigeria. That is what the power that was given them in the Constitution. And so when an emergency comes, we don't need to try to seek doctrine of necessity to make INEC conduct itself in a proper manner and conduct elections for the people who are ready to participate. What we want is that the letter has been written to them Nobody is bringing any order to contradict this. No, they are not presenting any appeal to INEC that this has been appealed. So if this has not been appealed and there's what by the court saying the State House of Assembly today is properly constituted.
Yes, but
that
if
means INEC should immediately release timetable for election, because the years are running out and we have 2027 to also plan for other parties to participate in the election.
If INEC is foot dragging, how do you compare INEC?
If INEC is foot dragging, and that's why we have said it several times, that INEC should not be, interested in trying to, in state protection, like in trying to work, towards the protection of the interests of those who are in government, or try to look at, because if there was an opposition party, maybe INEC could have set up the date for election today. So what we are saying, maybe further actions will be taken, because we have we have done our precedent even before this time, that if INEC don't do that, we will take more further action, because this democracy is, whether you are in Sokoto, whether you are in Benin, whether you are in Lagos, whether you are in Kogi, this democracy is a collective effort for us to protect. If we are not protecting the local government system today, is the reason why it's in the greatest mess. If you allow one governor and one godfatherism to continue to chain our democratic system from state to state, and we do not checkmate it early on time, you will find out that we no longer have state governors that will listen to the people.
Well, this is quite different now. But does the CUPP think that Nigeria's democracy is threatened? Is the Rivers debacle a road to Nigeria's own political debacle?
Of course, when you start in those process by illegally, suppressing, people's, authority to function, people's authority to administer, the work that they were elected to do, and when that start to affect the interest, Nigerians there will suffer, and it will dovetail into other states. So, for you to protect democracy in general, you must stand. You don't wait until the wound gets up to the knee before you start to treat it. You treat it from that spot where it has appeared. So, from what we have seen and what we analyzed in our meeting yesterday, we know that this, if allowed to stand, if we wake up tomorrow morning, honest tomorrow, and say, oh, there's a court order that the 27 people can return, and their only speaker is the valid speaker, despite they have decammed from the platform of which they were elected.
It's a court order. You have to obey it, right?
You have to
Just
obey
like
it.
You're saying that it must be obeyed. This must be obeyed in the interim, because it has not been vacated.
No, the issue is that we can't continue to abuse court processes just because we have the authority to do that. We can't continue to, work. What you do is that when there are two such conflicting orders, the first one that comes is superior. Always, we have had cases. Because they are called the same court, one court. If they want to do, they can even go back to this judge and ask this judge, this order you have made in error. These are the information that are not before you. Please take this order and look at it and then vacate your order. Or you go to court of appeal. And the Federal High Court, the president of the court and all the high leaders of the court have stated that such political matters shouldn't be granted on presentation of ex parte motion. That means without serving the other parties. That is, it's in public. You can look at it in the internet. These are instructions.
But ex parte motion or orders still give room for the other parties to be served. If I mean, it's clear in law. If the appellant or the defendant's interest is going to be injured irreparably, immediately.
That is at the discretion of the judge.
Absolutely.
To determine if the interest of the person will be injured. If he feels the interest will not be injured, he can go ahead and decide and determine the ex parte order without being served.
Well, let's leave that to lawyers and judges
what we
to
say that there's a
decide,
court and those laws should be respected.
It's all right. Thank you very much, Peter Ameh, National Secretary of CUPP, for coming on Newsnight.
Thank you very much.